Join us for an enlightening experience where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness by Barrett Kunyan.
Oh, here we are again, and we have our beautiful soul brother, Rick Jewis. It's an honor to have you back on our Bioactivator platform. And for those viewers who are not very familiar with Brother Rick, he is the founding father of GPMS.world, which stands for Global People's Monetary System.world. Thank you, Brother Rick, for turning up. And we have a beautiful we're going to have a beautiful conversation today, reference to elevating consciousness, the hidden power of pH, vibration, and time manipulation. Brother Rick, this was triggered for me personally on the I've just made some notes, on the 25th of February on social media, Facebook, and for our viewers and for myself, just to remind ourselves what you put on Facebook. So it will take a minute or two just to go through this. So your article goes like this: the pH level of your physical vessel plays an important role in manipulating, beg your pardon, in maintaining a higher vibration. A higher vibration results in an increased ability by you to transcend space and time, i.e., bilocation and instant physical transportation through time and space. By maintaining a pH level of the physical vessel above 6.5, preferably above 7, the electrical field created by your heart increases, causing a higher vibration, which in turn creates a higher frequency than a higher harmonic sound. When the higher vibration emotions are added to your field, it excites your electrical field to a higher current. And as you vibrate at a higher rate, this higher oscillating immediately affects time and space and your positioning in time and space, which includes your multi-dimensional abilities. Many different chemicals and even synthetic in foods can alter and adversely affect your electrical and vibration, short-circuiting and even blanketing your energetic field to the degree that your vibration is not high enough in the positive polarity, allowing for negative circumstances to enter your reality. Well, brother, this sits very dear to my heart, and it really has triggered me sort of to come knocking at your door and putting this show together and coming up with some juicy questions, because that is an almighty article, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are positively triggered by this. So I'd like to personally thank you for that article, brother. You're looking well, brother.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for turning up. So what we've done, brother, is as you know, in the past as well, we've put together, we've managed to collate some questions based on your article. And if you're comfortable, I'd like to present the first question. And here goes. How does... Yeah, thank you, brother. I was going to say, how does the pH level of the physical body directly influence one's ability to manipulate time and space? If I may, I'll read the question again. How does the pH level of the physical body directly influence one's ability to manipulate time and space? Thank you, brother.
All right, thank you for that, brother. Well, when we look, first thing I'd like to say is that a lot of this, if anyone goes and researches after the fact, you will find the basis of a lot of what I say. And I don't include a lot of the science and the basis in it because a lot of it's already out there. But what I do at this time is add new knowledge to it as well in this time of ascension to advance one's forward. The pH level of the physical vessel is so important, and it's becoming more renowned, if you will, how a pH level of the physical vessel below 7, if it's in the acetic or acetic range, what it does, it then invites negativity, it invites sickness and disease as well. And of course, let's just take cancer, if you will. It can only increase, or it can only exist in an acidic environment. So, having said this, the actual cure to uh, cancer and all sickness is in combination with having the pH level above 7. So now, again, what exactly was your question? No, that's fine. I remember what it is. So when we look at electrical currents in the physical vessel, the human body, because it's natural and it's organic, electrical currents act differently in the humanoid vessel than what it does in your car battery and what have you. Meaning that in your car battery, with it has battery acid in it, which creates and it's acid, which creates a lot of electrons, which creates energy, to keep it simple for your viewers. And it is directed. It is a directed current, if you will, from the battery, meaning it's contained and it's directed and focused to supply power to your engine. With the humanoid vessel, the humanoid vessel is, let's say, 78% water. And the humanoid vessel generates its own electrical field from the heart. Now, when you produce energy, there is the release of electrons, if you will, free radical electrons as well, which can become sporadic if they're not controlled. So when you put this in and I was going to keep this in as layman terms as I can, but I see to explain the process, I'll just continue forward and do it this way. So in the physical vessel, an alkaline pH level means that there is less acids. So in a car battery, acids are a very good conductor and work great. But in the physical vessel, it works the opposite, to have an optimal energetic field by one of the support agents of that field being an alkaline pH level. Because in the physical vessel, it is the interaction with the water molecules that produces the hydroxide ions, which then are more controlled and kept in focus, rather than the electrons that makes one's field all sporadic, if you will. So it's very important at maintaining that control over your electrical currents, but knowing that it exists as well. Perhaps I won't ramble on much more on that, and we'll go to the next question, or we could be.
Yes, next question. Can you Yeah, just sorry about that. I don't know what happened there, but can you explain the relationship between the heart's electrical field and the higher vibrational frequencies? I shall repeat the question. Can you explain the relationship between the heart's electrical field and the higher vibrational frequencies?
Yeah, so I like to put it this way to keep it simple, that negativity within one produces more electrons, and they are negatively charged, if you will. And what this does, this is why it's so important with the basic teachings of one's doing the inner work, to know that with their actions and their emotions, that if it's negative charged, where the heart is the primary source of generating the electrical field, then it produces electrons instead of more protons, which are important, that affects their reality. What was the question again?
Yes, so can you explain the relationship between the heart's electrical field and higher vibrational frequencies?
Yes. So, pretty much what I said, when you have
Yeah.
control of the heart's electrical field and the oscillations of energy, when you have control over that, it makes a more stable aura out around you that you are also conscious of, and you are also interacting with the perimeters of it. So, once you do this versus the other way, with more electrons produced because you didn't do your um, inner work, it creates a static and an erratic energetic field. But because the perimeters of it are also negative biased, more to the negative, if you will, what they will do is attract negative events, negative circumstances to your reality. You'll be more prone to accidents, you'll be more prone to sickness, and some of these things. So it is important for ones to know their empowerment with this, and the importance of being conscientious of how your energetic field can really work for you.
Absolutely, brother. It's almost like magnetizing, kind of, isn't it, brother? You're kind of magnetizing, or no?
Yeah, it's an electromagnetic field, if you will,
Yeah.
what we have, and most explain it that way.
Okay.
So yes, it's the likes will attract with your
Yeah.
energetic field. So if you're positive and do all the good things, you don't succumb or become inundated to negative things, to keep it that simple.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful.
So the
Right. Our next.
polarity of your field is so important. It's the polarity
Yeah.
of your field that invites your experience, whether it'll be negative or positive. So it's only common sense that, ones don't want any negativity. We want
Yeah.
all good things. So it begins, and
Absolutely.
again, the simple cliche, it begins with the individual, it begins with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that, brother. Right. Our next
Well,
question. What role do emotions play in enhancing one's vibrational frequency and multidimensional abilities? So I'll repeat the question. What role do emotions play in enhancing one's vibrational frequency and multidimensional abilities?
Well, this is the thing. So, on the scale of emotions, if you will, let this be the medium. You have the negative emotions, which are fear based. So they are here. Then you have the positive emotions, which are love based. So, what occurs if one is able to be controlled by any of these negative fear emotions, if it's able to control them to produce the effects of this, like sadness, anger, just to name a few, because those are all fear based emotions, then what occurs, the individual, when they go into the fear based emotions, the negative ones, then they begin to uh, they polarize their heart field, if you will, with negativity because they're negative fear emotion. So with that, then they will generate a negative field, if you will. So to keep it simple, do all the good things, and as we spoke about earlier, be kind and all
Yeah.
of this, and don't go into aggression. Do all the good things because it does affect your field, but it also affects your reality, and it adversely affects everyone else around you if you go into the negative emotions. Because again, what we are talking about here is polarity. We are beyond the time, if you will, of what they would call the balance between light and darkness for one to be balanced. We are beyond that. We are going to the full positive, to the full
Yeah.
light, where there is no negative, there is no density, if you
Yes.
will. It doesn't occur in pure light. And that is where we're going. And this doesn't mean the physical vessel's going to turn into pure light. It can, yes, but that's not what we're doing at this time. What we are doing is amplifying the organic vessel and combining it with the energetic field to go through the multi dimensional doorways. But nice while have multi-dimensional positive profound experiences as well.
Beautiful, Ron. Thank you for that. Our next question: how 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 do synthetic chemicals in food impact the body's energetic field and vibrational state? So I'll repeat the question. How do synthetic chemicals in food impact the body's energetic field and vibrational state?
Yeah, well, in foods, as most or perhaps all watching this knows, that there's many synthetic chemicals and preservatives and what have you that are uh, all used in foods, and and they are toxic even just to a humanoid organic vessel, yet they have been approved and worldwide and put in foods. But again, um, they're toxic. And what occurs as well, a lot of these synthetic chemicals also creates acid environment, so it creates more of an acid based with an acid base in your physical vessel. But also there are other chemicals that become electrolytes that also begin to distort um, the balance of electrons and protons in your physical vessel. And again, it will begin to create, well, it won't begin, it does. It creates an erratic field, and again, it lowers the pH level. But also, what you need to understand, it can also, and it does, create short circuiting. And this becomes even more important to know this um, when you're what you're doing with this pH exercise, if you will, what we're speaking about, what you're doing with this is strengthening, empowering, and balancing um, your pH level in your energetic field. So when you add synthetic chemicals in there, they become unknown variables to your energetic field. And when they are not controlled, they are not in the proper places at the right times, and it begins to create chaos, imbalance, and also an erratic field. And for two reasons. Again, some of these synthetic chemicals are electrical conductors, and also some of these synthetic chemicals creates many different acids into the body, and they assist at keeping the body in an acidic pH level. And as a result of that, as ones constantly consume it, they're constantly creating an energetic environment, but they're also attracting sickness and what have you, which makes them even go, let's say, more negative and more acidic, which then attracts more and more, and it creates a negative field, which will attract negative circumstance more often than not.
In your beautiful, humble opinion, do you feel that someone can can improve or neutralize or change the consciousness of something? Because Professor Emoto from Japan, I mean, he did some experiments with water, for example. Can we make water more appealing, shall we say, for the alkaline state of the body, so we can raise the frequency? And if we can do that to water, is it possible something which is maybe rather toxic in its shape change the molecular structure of just blessing it and putting our love into it? Is that physically? I mean, it'd be great if we can avoid it altogether, but I'm being a bit awkward and playing the devil's advocate. Can we alter the state of the consciousness of something which is presented to us, if need be?
Yeah. We can improve the structure of the water to a degree, but yet again, if these chemicals are still in it, they are variables. And the more energy that one will put in trying to clean the water, it's a waste of energy to do it. So the most common sense best practice is to eliminate any of the chemicals that's in the water, and that's a difficult process as well. But the best practice is just don't take a chlorinated water and try to clean it, because again, you don't get all the chloride ions out of it. You got to be a pretty powerful alchemist to be able to do this. And I've seen ones that have used utensils with chlorine water, and to them, because they believed it fully, they would take a drink, not taste the chlorine. But for where I remain objective, and I said, all right, let me taste it. I can taste the chlorine in it. So you can create a false positive with this, if you will. So the best practice, again, is to utilize all of the methods that and even reverse osmosis does not take all of these things out. And the best practice, what I say for your water, is to get it from a mountain stream where at least there should be sand somewhere around the environment. Sand is one of the best natural filters, but you want to get it from a mountain stream. When you look at the rocks and the pebbles, that they're a lighter color, because alkaline tends to be light. But if you're getting it from a stream that has yellow or rust color in it, it means it's got sulfates, iron, arsenic, and these are toxic metals, but also it has too much mineral content that it would act also as a dampening field for your energetic field in your aura as well, and it will have adverse effects. So, with this one, and water is a tricky thing, and what I always suggest, get it as high up, the mountain that you can, and make sure nothing is built on the hill or the mountain above it, and look at the pebbles in the stream.
Absolutely, bro. we're very blessed here in Austria, brother, because we actually have this on our doorstep. Because
Yeah,
we've
you
been
were
told
saying, yeah,
300 meters down from the big natural light-colored stones, and it's coming out with natural pressure. That's ideally what you want, brother. Can I just throw in something
exactly.
as well? Baking soda, because I have a tendency of putting a little bit of baking soda in first thing in the morning. I don't do it to, let's say, to clean acidity as such. It's a daily practice that I've been doing for a while, and I enjoy it. Where does that sit with you? Putting a bit of baking soda in the water. Is it needed or not really?
It depends upon the individual with this. And, if an individual is higher conscious and conscientious of knowing and understanding what their body wants that is good for it, if you will, that with
Perfect.
baking soda, yes, it is
It's,
good for some, but it also comes a point that you
yeah.
don't require it any longer as well.
Oh,
So this depends upon the individual, and it does have beneficial effects for ones, I will say.
thank you.
Yes, but there also comes a time, that we don't need it. It depends upon the individual.
Fantastic. Next question. Could you describe a practical method or daily practice for maintaining a high vibrational state through pH balance? Could you describe a practical method or daily practice for maintaining a high vibrational state through the pH balance?
Well,
Do you want me to?
when we look at the pH balance of the physical vessel, it mostly depends on what you consume, what you put in it. So your beverages, your water, and your food. And that's what determines, for the most part, the pH level of your physical vessel. What are you putting in it? And that's where you need to be meticulous with that to, daily, it's a good practice to have your alkaline water up to, let's say, alkaline level of 9.5. A good practice when you're beginning to go in to recognizing the importance of setting your pH level more in the alkaline. You can go on distilled water for no longer than 2 weeks when you begin your process as well. And you don't want to go on any longer than 2 weeks because there's not the minerals in it. But the distilled water is a purifying agent that flushes you out. It goes in your cells and it begins to take out a lot of the synthetic chemicals that were accumulated there that your cells could not break down. So it's good to do that. But the daily practice is keep an alkaline water in your diet. Avoid sodas and any of the acids, avoid acidic fruits, avoid alcohol, avoid preservatives that are acidic based with vinegars and what have you in them. And, keep a higher alkaline diet. And you can research these things online. So to make it easy, for anyone, just type in alkaline diet. That's simple. And you can bring up a list, what resonates with you. But with this, be very now this leads me into a very important part, what I need to put in here. Because with citric fruits in the past, and let's say apple cider vinegar, if you will, apple cider, with these two things before, with the humanoid vessel, they would create an alkaline environment. But what ones need to realize is that for many, that's no longer the case because the digestive acids and enzymes that are in your physical vessel has changed. So with the chemical reactions, what used to occur to make, let's say, lemon juice alkaline, for some, that component is no longer there, and it'll make your body actually more acidic. So one way that you can tell with this, if it resonates, but also if you begin getting heartburn, if you will, and acid reflux. This is one way after if you consume apple cider vinegar or citrus fruits. If you begin to get a little bit of that burning, that is one inclination that it's time to avoid these higher acid fruits like lemons and oranges and many of the fruits. Avocado is an alkaline fruit. Kaki fruit, permison, permison. Broccoli is good as a vegetable. Cucumbers are good, just to name a few. But again, ones can do their own research on this.
Yeah, and I found out today as well, moringa is very, very alkalining as well for the body. Brilliant,
Yes,
brother.
thank you. I had to just a few days ago, moringa. I had to suggest for a brother in Nigeria to raise his pH level, and thank you for bringing that up as well. And turmeric, also raises the alkalinity, and we find this beautiful herb turmeric. It does so many things for the physical vessel. Yeah.
If you had the choice going for the powder version or the fresh turmeric, is there a preference between the two, or they can both be as positive? Because you can buy the turmeric powdered form, or I got the best of both worlds. So I've got the powder version and I've got the fresh turmeric as well. So yeah,
My preference would be the fresh turmeric, yes, because it has more of the life force in it. For us, for Femke, it's more convenient to have the high quality powder form, but I would prefer what you have. Yes, organic and fresh out of the ground or what have you, the ground that it's been growing in. See, another thing with organic foods, as because you do that, it also depends upon runoffs, and you could have a beautiful organic garden, if you will, but if your buddy up the hill is have all chemicals and GMOs, that runoff goes down in, and it's not really organic any longer.
Yeah. Do you feel that reference to this business of acid rain and the stuff that we don't want to energize because it is quite a negative narrative reference to chemtrails that people look up in the skies and they see all kinds of pollutants being supposedly put into the atmosphere. I suppose if you energize that, it could have a knock-on effect, because I don't know, I know you do look up a lot, and do you see funny looking when planes go by and stuff like that, you see like many waves and what's going on, brother Rick, with this? Is there a cleansing process happening at the same time?
Well, let me say, we don't deny the fact about chemtrails and the oxides, the sulfur oxides, and the toxic substances. They are there. But what I do and others, we automatically clean the air. And there's ones that you can see that even can erase the chemtrails. Now, where Femke and I are at here, I saw one chemtrail today, but there's day after day, it's just blue skies because the energetic field, what we have created, just does not allow it to occur as well. But good practice is to be conscientious at knowing when you're in higher vibration, if you will, in a more stable field, that you begin to excite and turn on more of your parapsychological abilities, which one, yes, includes at erasing the chemtrails in the sky. So
Fantastic. If I may, the next question: have you personally experienced or witnessed bilocation or instant transportation as a result of maintaining a high pH and vibration? Do you want me to repeat the question, Brother Rick?
no, that's pretty good. Let me say, with myself, not recently, but I really can't. What will I say? It occurs when I need to and when I divinely need to. Like I've experienced many things of, yes, instant bilocation transportation, and I've even had perhaps one or two witnesses with I when these things occurred, because they came with me to attest that yes, it actually occurred. But having said this, for I to answer fully that question, I keep my vessel as high as pH as possible, meaning that it doesn't, it is a good measure, it is a good foundation to have there all the time. But it's also important to know that there are more factors at play that determines the bilocation and the transporting. But what I will say is the pH level, yes, is a foundation. It is part of an essential for it to be able to sustain yourself when you do bilocate. So what occurs with some, they're introduced to bilocation or multi-dimensional repositioning, but what occurs, they always come back. But the reason that it does occur against odds, let's say if they even have an acid and acidic pH, is they need that introduction to the experience to know that the ability exists. So it's like an introduction. Then what occurs, then they begin to awaken more, and they become more aligned to do more of the best practices to facilitate a more susceptible environment to be able to sustain themselves in the other realities and other dimensions. So it makes it much easier with the stable alkaline pH level to do this, because you have more of a control over the hydroxide ions, if you will, in your field. And altogether with this information, you're able to see what's going to occur at some time. With many of us, you can instantly just think where you want to be, and you'll take the whole physical vessel with you. So no longer is it just consciousness at remote viewing, by able to go into different places consciously. You're going to be taking this physical vessel with you. Some will be. For me, I don't know how many, and I don't know when this will occur. But what we can say, as I attested to, I know there are others that have already, done this and experienced it. And I wanted to gather some information from others that had the multi-dimensional bilocation experiences. I put a post out, after I did this about a week ago, but I only received one reply from a divine feminine that she actually, yes, went into a place walking in the US, and for a period of time. She was over in California, if you will, and then she come back to the place. I believe Minnesota. I think she said she
Yeah.
was in. Yeah, and she actually experienced it. Yeah, I watch. I laugh a lot here with what Femke does when she goes for walks, and she's not constant in time, meaning that I could see perhaps a road a mile up the road, and she'll just start walking. I could turn my head and turn it back, and she's gone. Because of the difference in the space and time we are
Yeah.
in. So many times, I witness this and see it.
Beautiful, brother. Without sidetracking, I was going to say, if people out there are interested in creating some form of measurement in terms of pH, is it good to look at the urine or more the blood?
We want to look at the saliva because the urine, there are many different acids that are produced, and a lot of the acids in the vessel also are, released out through the urine. The better sample with a test kit of litmus paper, if you will, you can buy in I'd say, drugstores, pharmacies, or
Yeah.
what have you, to test. Use the saliva, or
Saliva.
even if you want to prick yourself and you use a little bit of blood
Fantastic.
on the
Thank you,
paper to
brother.
test the pH level of it. And
Beautiful.
these are, I don't know how much they cost because I've never bought them, but I believe they're pretty inexpensive. And
Inexpensive,
so if
yes.
one, begins, they can keep a journal when they begin, to do their alkaline process. So typically,
Yeah.
it humanoid vessels will be around 6.5. That's when they're in the acetic level, to
Yeah.
about 7.5.
Yeah.
So there is that, it's good for one to, all right, they say they're going to create, the pH level alkaline in their physical vessel. When you start, if you wish to,
Yeah.
have a test strip,
Yeah.
document and record your journey. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, brother. Do,
And
do you know?
see, this is important also for ones if you have doubt. So when you document it as well, you confirm it not only for yourself, but you have the documentation for others. So you have a journal, and what you will find is that your overall health will begin to increase as well.
Yeah.
And it's important to watch all of the beneficial side effects of doing this. And
Yeah.
when one does this and make a record, they're able to give it to others and say, come on,
Yeah.
this is what you got
Very
to
proud.
do. Look, it makes you
Yeah.
healthy. Yeah.
Definitely. Brother, are you familiar at all with some people have say that breath work is also very alkalining as well. It can raise your frequency. Does that resonate at all with you? Yeah.
Absolutely, because we're looking at the hydrogen that's in the air. And when you get a pure hydrogen, if you will,
Yeah.
when you breathe it in, when this comes in, yes, again, you're using the protons uh, the electrons with it. So yes, this is also one of the reasons why breathing is so empowering, so important, and raises one's vibration as well. So it does it. This is just one little way that it does it, but overall it is very beneficial as well. And with conscious breathing, of
Yeah.
course. And
Yeah.
well, mostly that's what everyone does. You have the conscious intent of what you're doing, and that's a sign to what
Yeah.
you're bringing in the air.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Next question, if I may. How does sound and harmonic frequency tie into the body's electrical field, and overall vibration. Can I read that question again, please? How does
Yes.
sound, yes, how does sound and harmonic frequency tie into the body's electrical field and overall vibration? First thing that comes to my mind is some kind of music as well. If you play
And that's
harmonic
a great
music.
way to look at it. Yeah. See, when you look at anything that vibrates and oscillates, vibration makes a sound, even if it's um, what's the word? Even if you can hear it or not, it makes a sound. It creates
Yeah,
a harmonic, if you will. And
yeah,
what we're doing with what you're asking, the idea thing is with this, how it affects when you have a fine tuned oscillation from your heart controlled with your energetic field coming out, that vibration makes a certain sound and a certain humming, if you will. But sound and frequency is also the keys to time travel, multi-dimensional travel, and bilocation. So being knowledgeable as well of these beneficial attributes and how they work uh, as well, you begin to create a higher frequency. Now, also with this, what many when they get tinnitus, what's the proper word again? When you hear the toning in your ears, the high pitched sound, what this
yeah,
actually is, what you're hearing is your energetic field and its location in the space time continuum. So the higher the pitch, what one can do is when they hear that, they can mostly uh, associate their outside reality as being a higher frequential reality as well, or it should be. But when you begin to hear this toning in the ears, that means your energetic field has just increased its harmonics. So, this is why you're hearing it in sound, but it's higher frequency as well. But it goes beyond the audible sounds. So, let's say if your vibration is raising, then you hear the high frequency, but then let's say it goes because you've went through the firmament, if you will, of that reality. And once you're up in your whole energetic field, it's all that frequency, you acclimatize to it and you no longer hear the humming because you are in the higher reality and you no longer hear the toning. And what is occurring? See, we're all here with the vibration upon Earth, and this is the vibration. So what you'll have is many that when they go to the top level of the sustained overall vibration, they'll get a humming noise to let them know they're near that. But what also occurs, some breaks through, have the multi-dimensional experiences in bilocation, but then we come back. And one of the reasons, again, it is the divine plan that we need to come back as well, because we're developing the abilities to do this, but also on the higher level, it is connected to the planetary ascension to take humanity forward.
brother. Thank you for that. I think I've asked you this question before, but I'm just fascinated to hear again. With the reference to aging, for example, I mean, it's my feeling as well. It's not natural to age, and there's a lot. And I've seen it's recently as well a lot of premature aging going on. Um, what's your take on aging? Is it a natural phenomenon? Should the body age at all in an ideal alkaline state?
That's an interesting question. The answer would be is no, it should not again, because a lot of the aging process is due to a lot of these acids, if you will, in the physical vessel. So, that is one thing that contributes to the aging, but it's also the widespread belief about aging, and of course, the chemicals and everything that has been put in there. Um, so
It's also,
that's
thank
the short.
yeah, and obviously with the bombarding of a lot of programming that used to be around us. Brother, there's a question here
Yeah, yeah.
you've answered.
We need to yeah, but just before we move on, we need to
Yeah,
reference again, things that were written in antiquity. And let's take the Bible, yes, because I love that. When you look at Noah was 900 or some years old, and his partner, she
yeah,
was however 700, 800 years old. These things are very real. But also, what I need to add in, we're in Romania here, and
yes,
in the Buceg Mountains is one of the areas with a lot of this knowledge that was utilized by the darkness to slow down the aging process, and used by the reptilians and draconians, if we want to get into that part of the truth. But the thing is that there's also anti-aging technology, but again, it only works to the extent of the intents, uh, if you will, of the individual, and it only works to the extent of what the dimensional physics are as well. So in this reality, in this dimension, uh, life, the aging process goes rather quickly. But again, when you're in higher vibration, when we're in duality, and when we're in the twin flame unions, because love is the fountain of youth, this is why instantly the partners, because of their belief in the twin flame, experience and what it is, but also because of that multi-dimensional sacred love which is created instantly. It will even change the physical vessel that your face, you look like you're 20 years old, or with Femke, she's beautiful and looks young, but when in the past, when we'd activate um, that higher love, her face just goes, like a 17-year-old, if you will. And this is very real. And but I got a little bit off track there.
no, that's perfect, bro. I was going. There's a few questions here. You've more or less answered them. Particularly, I was going to say, are there specific foods or substances that are particularly effective in raising the body's pH and vibration? What about smells, brother? I mean, certain fragrances, for example, walking in nature, and there is an array of certain fragrances. Would you promote that a little bit? Reference to people
Not
connecting with nature more, or it may not
uh,
necessarily. Yeah.
No, there's different effects with that. It sets off chemical reactions in the olfactory nerves. It's not so much a pH level with that. So I would say no
No.
at this time with that.
Okay.
There may be some limited effects, but uh, not to my knowledge, the great
Right.
effects that raising the pH. Again, we go back to it's what you have in the body, what you consume, what you eat and drink, because that is what gets digested and
Yeah.
goes into every cell in your body.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for. Um, What are the most common signs that one's energetic field has been negatively affected by external chemicals? So, what are the most common signs that one's energetic field has been negatively affected by external chemicals?
Well, mostly with this, what I'd say the body's senses would feel it. You'd feel depleted, you'd feel heavy if you're in the environment. So this also can be a multiple answer to it, if you will, multiple answers, because it depends on factors. What type of environment are you in? What is occurring with you as a divine one? Are you transmuting something, if you will, for the collective? As an example, what is actually going on in your environment and with you, which needs to be assessed and evaluated first to distinguish this, what is actually occurring. But again, listen to your physical vessel. If the smells are so beneficial in this, for example, if in Canada and other places, they call it environmental sickness. If you smell, if you go into a supermarket, if you will, and you walk down the bleach and uh, cleaning powders aisle, I can't go in there for very long. I go through
Yeah.
it quickly because the smells it creates in the body. No, you don't like this. Get out of there, if you will. So this is one indication. Pay attention to what your body is feeling with that. And yeah, you don't want to be in what is considered a chemical negative environment. So you use your own discernment at what you feel to do, is what
Yeah.
I would say there, to keep it
Uh,
simple.
Thank you. Is it possible, because my beautiful partner's mother transitioned fairly recently, and she was bedbound for some number of weeks. She eventually transitioned. Few days prior to her transitioning, when Katrina and we went once or sometimes twice a day to see how she was doing. Um, is it possible to smell death, brother? Because the body is giving off a certain odor and the breaking down of the body. You can, and it's like even a few days before, I suppose. I mean, it's detectable. Do you have to be sensitive to
Yeah,
smell
yeah,
this?
yeah. Yeah, it's how you process it. Some can feel it, some will come through the
Right.
smell, or all of these different ways, or you can see it and read the energy. But yes,
Yeah.
that is one. Yes, you you
Yeah.
you can smell it as well, because everything is energy when we get right to the basis of it, and energy has the imprint. So when you smell something, that is an energy. It is a gas. It has ions into it, if you will, and you can pick up if they're more negative ions in the composition or more positive, and the brain will do the processing. Yeah, I smell death, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
most
I
certainly.
suppose, and if you're positively charged and your pH is at least 7 and above, would that mean that your body is less likely to produce certain odors, like, some people say, oh, the armpit doesn't smell very nice? Is that because of the toxins that, or you could have buildup of bacteria here as well? So it may not be the release of certain toxins coming out to your body, because or will your body produce enough protective stuff to combat the bacteria? That's another way of looking at it, I suppose, if you're
Well,
pretty alkaline.
well, when we look at hormones and pheromones, they still play an important role in the physical anatomy and the interactions in relationships. So what you're looking at here is that, let's say, for a masculine, using myself, when my testosterone hormone is heightened, I will tend to smell, more from the armpits. But when it's more imbalanced, if you will, and more in the sacred love, I don't wear deodorant, and rarely I wash, but rarely do I smell, because
Thank you
the
then.
instinctual.
Yeah.
Pardon?
No, that was a bit of sense of humor. I was going to ask Fenka if she agrees with what you just.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ah, there you go.
Can you hear her?
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. So, but also there is the chemical reactions with the pheromones, with the scent of the individual as well, to attract, the right mates. And you'll hear a lot of feminine, one of the things they do when they meet the masculine, it's also in the smell, where they're able to read if they like the smell, which tells them if it's compatible or not, if you will. So it plays a very important role,
Yeah,
the pheromones.
absolutely. So people putting sort of makeup, and I call it cover up, because like when
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, with all these aftershaves and things. If anything, I'm drawn to things like I love the smell of lavender.
Mhm. Good
Chamomile.
for the
There's so
heart.
yeah, natural. Well,
Yeah.
but I agree. Your body should produce its natural smells. I have last question, but I think we more or less answered that question. But I as I've written it down, we might as well just have a quick look at it. Again, how can individuals measure and monitor their vibrational state and pH levels to ensure they are in a high frequency state? Can I throw in this one, if I may, and I'll hand over the mic. But I can just say what I can only share with our beautiful viewers. What keeps me in good stead is I'm conscious of my footprints and how it's affecting the overall state of the beings around us, and how we're affecting the planet overall. And that includes a whole array of different organisms. It's not just the human race, but animals and insects and all, all sorts of things. So because we get a biofeedback, don't we, brother? So
Absolutely, yes. Yeah,
if you want to continue, I appreciate it. Yep. So yeah,
yeah. What
it's
was the?
really
We're yeah. There's a little bit of a lag in between. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we're connected. It is the biorhythm that we're all part of in this dimension, all of creation, or most of creation, if you will. We're not connected to the actual evil darkness, but that's another story. But what was the question again, brother? Could you just reiterate,
Yeah, of
please?
course. Where I'm going, I'll read you the question, but where I'm going with this particular one is when I've kind of meditated on presenting this question, it was based on the moral compass of the people, because it is a measurement whether we are conscious or semi-conscious or super conscious, because we are leaving certain footprints. But the question was, how can individuals measure and monitor their vibrational state and pH levels to ensure they can that beg your pardon, I'll read it again. How can individuals measure and monitor their vibrational state and pH levels to ensure they in a high frequency state, or shall I say that they are in a high frequency state? So it's, I think what we're getting at here is that they're consistent. So it's not one day yes, one day no. It's
to sustain it.
yeah.
You know what I wish to say for this, anyone, don't stress it, meaning that understand everyone's evolving and each one is perhaps at unique different levels. So it's important, not to compare yourself to another in your development and not to create stress, because if you create stress thinking you're not doing enough, that creates an adverse environment and adds negativity to your field, and it'll begin to confuse and distort everything. So, having said this, with your pH level, do your best practices with your diet, your drink, and also keep a log of that so you can confirm your advancements. And, again, remain neutral, remain objectively, as you beautifully do, Brother Barrett, at, at watching your energy by feeling it and your effects with it. So you go into a simple process of, you can even do the people watching thing, on the street.
Yeah.
And what you begin to learn is the sign language, the anthropology, if you will, to understand how they're feeling and test yourself at feeling them, because you're also an empath. So you can begin to know more about yourself. And by doing this as well, being objective and neutral, you can also, it enhances what you already have and it advances you forward. But again, everyone needs to know we're still going through this evolution tube. So don't stress what you're doing and do your best with it. And these were a couple suggestions. What I know is that there are so many different ways to do things that it's important, if you have your own technique, your own modality, if you will, of doing it, trust that, because it's what you trust and you believe in which also does it. So it's a placebo effect, but it's very
Yeah,
powerful. Trust and
absolutely.
believe in what
Thank
you're
you.
doing.
Yeah. Is there a
You're welcome.
sure bet? Thank you. Is there a sure bet? Like, for example, we did a session not that long ago, reference to praying, for example. Do you think that prayer is the very foundation of holding on to the overall, is the key which unlocks the heart's voice in becoming more aligned, being more centered in the alkaline state of beingness, if you will?
Well, most certainly as well, like with affirmations, so you can adjust what you're
Yeah,
putting out to the universe with your intent. So, if you just keep it simple, you pray for, let's just do this and just say, I pray for a pH level in my physical vessel to be alkaline. And so it is. Now, what this does by putting this command out into the universe, then what will occur, for example, over the course of your days, uh, and it could occur unbeknownst to you if you're not very astute and more aware. But then you watch what occurs. You may be on Facebook in your feed, an alkaline tip will come up. You may walk into a supermarket and feel you got to buy this product for whatever strange reason. You may get home and research it and find that it's alkaline. It's just what you needed. But
yeah,
also you because you're putting out the commands to the universe to align you with that intent, and you can keep prayers. The more simple you keep prayers from the heart, instead of trying to put in a complex logical conscious thing of what you want, you would limit it, and then you would have expectations. So you just do it freely from trust, from the heart, and you find that it is more effective. And yeah, it most certainly can assist with your pH level by us aligning in your realities the things that you need to do it. And again, this is what how prayers work, and God works in mysterious ways. And many times prayers are answered that ones don't even know that they were answered. And for example, one might say, I want to live another 10 years, and what may occur is that they might have changed their mind and not went on this drive for whatever reason. They don't know why they changed their mind, but their prayer might have been answered, because if they would have went on that drive, they could have got in an accident. So it's important to trust the prayers, because you never know what you have avoided. So it's so important to trust this. I mean, this is what prayers are about, and it may not be the way that you expect. And again, just to keep it vague and simple, God and yourself, your connection to God, acts in mysterious ways. Trust it all, and don't have expectations on the answer to your prayers.
Beautiful, brother. Well, it's been an absolute honor, pleasure being in your beautiful, beautiful presence. And I'm sure I speak for the many. You certainly have raised our pH and continue to do so. So from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank you for all that you do for the planet, brother. Thank you, and look forward to another opportunity in the very near future for us to come together again and ignite this beautiful energy that you certainly are, beautiful light, and really appreciate your energy. Thank you so much for
Likewise, brother, everything you said, and so much love, light, and gratitude. And with that, peace
beautiful
and love.
peace. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Much love.
You're
to
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Blessings. Thank you.
Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunian's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and